Hi, Normie Saga, back in the building. Let's go ahead and tell a Blackpill story. And this is going to be a favorable Blackpill story on me. You know, my dark triad traits compel me to tell stories that emphasize my favorability. And so I'm going to fuck someone off in this story, and RIP to the victim of the Blackpill, which is not me in this instance. So back in freshman year of high school, this was like 2006, all right? So I joined the freshman football team, and, you know, everything was on track. You know, I was going to be a freshman on the football team. Everything was fine. But then during PE class, we were playing flag football, and when I was trying to take somebody's flag out of their belt, my thumb got stuck in their belt loop and they fell down, and my thumb got fractured. And so I had to have a cast on at this point. And so I resigned from the freshman football team. And some of the footballers did not like this action that I took. They thought that I should stick it out and do whatever I had to do to look past the thumb injury. And, you know, I understand where they're coming from, but on the other hand, you know, it was a fracture, and the doctor recommended that I sit the season out. So I went ahead and did that. And there was this dude, let's call him Johnny P. So Johnny P, he was an Asian fellow. I think he's like Chinese descent. And he was actually a really good football player. He was a stud. He was a little bit short, but, you know, he was ripped. You know, six-pack, big muscles, all that kind of shit. And, you know, he was like a supposedly tough guy. And he was in my biology class, and he did not like the fact, and he was like a running back on the football team. He did not like the fact that I, you know, professed myself to be down with the football team, and then I just quit, you know, out of thin air, just from a lousy thumb injury. You know, I kind of betrayed them in his eyes. And so he took it upon himself to kind of tease me and, you know, to kind of embarrass me a little bit in this biology class, you know, being like, oh, you're a little bitch, like, you quit football, blah, blah, blah. And so me being the Machiavellian type of person that I am, you know, I took my little mental note of this, and I was like, okay, all right, bro, you're on my shit list, you know. And from that point out, you know, he was just on my shit list. And so didn't really think about him, you know, for the next, you know, year and a half. But then spring of sophomore year, I started rapping, you know. And so I was like rap maxing. I was kind of thug maxing, you know, in my own little way, in my own little white boy way. I was thug maxing. And like, you know, I was rapping. And like, you know, this little low-key talent that I had for rap, it really brought a lot of attention on me, you know, from the girls primarily, you know. And so I was rapping, and, you know, I was in a West Coast city. Nobody in my high school really had ever rapped before, and so it was like a real novelty type of thing. And everybody was into it. Everybody was thinking something of it, you know, whether they loved it or they hated it, it was polarizing. And so during this time, you know, I heard Johnny P was talking crap, you know, he's talking mess, you know, he's trying to interrupt my attention that I was getting. And so I was like, okay, you're already on my shit list, and now you're violating me. All right, so let's go ahead and handle this. So I made a rap diss about him, and this dude had happened to tear his ACL, you know, which is a serious injury, nothing to take lightly, nothing to laugh about, you know. In hindsight, my apologies, Johnny P. You know, it wasn't the right thing to do, but I made a rap and I kind of grandstanded on him about his high school career being cut short, So this was very, very dark triad type of stuff, Machiavellian, lack of empathy type of criticism that I was leveling at this other human being. And this wasn't right, This just wasn't right, and it wasn't good. It wasn't proper. Was antisocial, not pro-social in any sense of the term. But he had a best friend, and she was a woman, and her name was let's call her Justine Glenn. Okay, her name was Justine Glenn in terms of this story, and she was like this Vietnamese chick, really big boobs, proper booty, but kind of like on the cusp of being popular, but also like kind of, I don't know, just not interested in that overall. And so I'm like, okay, Johnny P, I just dissed you. What's up? And I'm kind of waiting, and I get a text, and it says, okay, this is Justine Pin, and I want to hang out with you and your friends on Friday. And I was like, what? Is this some kind of setup? Is she trying to have Johnny P pop out of the background and attack me? And so this is my mindset, but also I'm very tempted because she was very cute. And I'm like, okay, sure. We can do that. Fine. And, she came on that Friday, and she came by herself. And she came with a more degenerate attitude than she typically was. She was not a partier type of person, but on this day, she was drinking vodka straight out the bottle, and she was smoking cigarettes. And I was like, okay, I didn't know you were like this, but all right, interesting. And then me and her wound up, she laid down on my bed. And I was with my friend who's like an MMA fighter. And I was like, he tried to lay down on the bed with her. And I was like, bro, move. And I kind of scooted him out the way because I was so focused on, the box that I wasn't even thinking about oh, he's an MMA fighter. And so I kind of scooted him out the way. And I was scoot up next to her, started making out with her. And I was like, holy shit. So I just dissed your best friend. Where's your loyalty to him at? Why are you making out with me in my mind? But, I'm gonna roll with it, And so this happened. And then, we kept corresponding, kept interacting. And, we got in a relationship. And, I took her V card. I'd already had a semi-taking of my V card before. I was a little anxious at that time, and it wasn't really a spectacular loss of my V card, but she was my second and I was her first. And so I was like, okay. And later in our relationship, we had a year-long relationship. And then at some point she said, okay, here's an inside story about my life. So Johnny P, he tried to kiss me, and, I'm just not attracted to him. And, it was Asian on Asian, attempt at a sexual encounter, but she wasn't into that. And, she was like, I said, no. And he was like, why? You kiss so-and-so, you've kissed this other person in the past. Why won't you kiss me? And so he was almost about to cry. And I was just like, damn, this is the same dude who was mogging me. He was basically disrespecting me with the underlying premise that oh, he'll beat my behind. But, now I figure out that I'm dating the girl who put him in the friend zone. And so I'm like, okay, I'm going up, I'm ascending. And so that was sort of my conversion from shy nerd to semi-thug maxing, semi-party maxing dude. And, whatever she did wrong, I mean, she did a lot for me, so I appreciate Justine Ping.